For technicians, we're changing a lot of lives, right? It's folks who just, we get a lot of folks who are Uber drivers or people who've worked as like handyman, odd jobs. A lot of people who've been laid off and not been able to feed their families, and then are able to get really great opportunities and jobs.
Welcome to Multifamily Insights. I'm your host, John Casman, and I want to thank you for joining us for another great episode. Listen, if you're enjoying this show, do me a quick favor and leave us a rating and review, but also give us some honest feedback, okay? We want to know what the show is doing to help you with your investing goals, but also take any feedback that we can use to make the show work harder. If you haven't done so already, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. We've got a great show today. We're going to be talking to Ruchir Shah. They say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you want to grow as a multifamily investor, you have to spend more time with other multifamily investors. And an easy way to do that is to join our apartment investing mastermind group today. Just go to casmancapital.com and click on the mastermind button. Now, as a part of this group, you'll get access to expert trainings, group coaching calls, industry news and updates, as well as all of our webinars and workshops, including our 3-hour workshop on raising capital. Again, if you want to be around other multifamily investors that can help you scale your portfolio today and grow your network, make sure you're a part of the Apartment Investing Mastermind. Just go to casmancapital.com and click on the Mastermind button today. Now, Ruchir Shah is the founder and CEO of SkillCat. Now, he's a 4-time entrepreneur and a Stanford MBA. And as the founder of SkillCat, this is a platform for multifamily owners and property managers to both hire and train maintenance technicians in HVAC, plumbing, and appliance repair. All of this through virtual simulations. Let's welcome to the show, Ruchir Shah.
Yeah, great to be here.
Absolutely. Listen, it's great to have you. I went over your bio at a very high level. Why don't you take 2 minutes and fill in some of those gaps?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I've been involved working with skilled trade technicians in some way or another since I graduated from college. And uh, I actually started this company coming out of business school at Stanford. There's a massive shortage of workers across the skilled trades and in every industry. So a lot fewer young people want to break into the trades, and a lot of older folks are retiring. So there's a huge shortage. And one of the biggest places you see that problem is in multifamily, because maintenance techs are, the blood of the business. They keep residents happy. They make sure issues are solved. They actually are one of the biggest factors that lead to renewals of leases. So it's super, super important to focus on maintenance, and maintenance technicians are the heart of that. And what we've seen across multifamily is just a massive, massive shortage. There's just not enough technicians out there. The ones you do end up hiring or bringing on often don't have the right skills. And so there's a huge amount of cost savings that any multifamily owner can experience from day one by investing in a good maintenance tech training, recruiting, apprenticeship style program.
Yeah, I'd love to dig into that more because those numbers are they're staggering, and there's opportunities, especially as with the market shifts. And there are jokes that plumbers are making more than.
I agree with everything you're saying. Yeah, I think there's a huge opportunity, a huge need in the industry, and so yeah, I agree with everything you were saying.
So
Yeah.
talk to me how it's one thing to identify the problem. It's another thing to come up with a solution. So we can recognize the shortage of these skilled trades. You
Mhm.
came up with this solution. Talk to us a little bit more about how the solution works, and kind of how you kind of came to decide this is something you're going to focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, personally, my background, and we grew that quite a bit. During COVID, everyone was getting laid off and going to work at grocery stores. So wanted to figure out, hey, how do you help these people? And this is happening in industries across the US. How do you help people who have been laid off from other industries? Massive shortage of skilled talent. And so we built out this platform. Initial idea, just building out online simulation-based courses to bring a lot of this training out of, archaic trade schools and, difficult places to learn into something that's millennial friendly, great for young people, accessible to everyone, onto your phone. And how do you help people learn and grow and pick up the right skills digitally? And so we've actually trained about 100,000 people through the platform. And it's all simulation based. You can get certified in key certification, you use a maintenance tech straight through your phone. And it's been really cool just bringing, they don't realize how easy it is to pick up some of the skills, and they just don't have access to paying $10,000 or $20,000 for trade school to get there. So we've taken that and made it a lot more accessible to a lot more people. And so the companies we work with in multifamily are able to really, really cut costs by doing a lot more repairs and troubleshooting problems in-house, by training their technicians through our simulations and then empowering them with our app, which has tools that techs can use in the field that help them troubleshoot faster. They actually walk them through almost every single issue you'd see and walk you through how you would troubleshoot it, what to look for, videos, pictures, real-time guidance. So you can actually solve pretty much any issue you're going to see in the field. So, this is one part of the solution. I think there's a lot of other solutions out there, but there are people who want to work in the trades. A lot of them are new. They don't know what they're doing. Our app can help them, really work like experienced techs from day one.
No, I love that. I think that's amazing, right? So to be able to recognize that this was a challenge and come up with a solution to help young people get into the space, create jobs, creating opportunities. And you mentioned that you trained over 100,000 people, which I think is incredible, right? To just have that many people be able to go through this platform and get the training and skills that they need. Just talk to me more about that, because you mentioned certifications and some of those things. I was going to ask, like, well, how do we ensure that people are getting trained on the right things and that this is all verified and validated and all of that? So talk to us a little bit more about maybe the technical components of making sure that education and the information is very accurate.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a 10-person content team, and most of that is technicians with years of experience in the skilled trades. And then we have an advisory panel that reviews all of our courses, who've been in the industry for many, many years. And so that's how we really make sure a lot of the content is really top notch and accurate. And then we also, you mentioned maybe verifying certifications. I think the big certification for a lot of maintenance technicians, especially to work on HVAC equipment, is their EPA, and we're directly accredited through the EPA to offer that certification. And we do that virtually proctored through our app, where it actually takes pictures and videos of you as you go through the exam and validates that there's no cheating. So we really go out of our way to make sure everything is really perfect. And trust me, maintenance technicians are very nitpicky, and they really want everything to be super accurate. So we've had 100,000 people really QA this and make sure it's perfect.
No, I love that. And I think too, because as we talk about the issue, I know a lot of apartment owners and property managers are looking for maintenance technicians right now and are having a hard time finding them. So if there was a way to find someone who maybe has the work ethic or has the interest in learning, but you can train them up and give them the skills through this, that could be a huge advantage. So this could be very valuable for a lot of our listeners. Just out of curiosity, how long does it take to kind of go through that certification or kind of this training?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, so we have training that ultimately can help a maintenance tech throughout their, first 4 or 5 years on the job. And so a lot of folks, I mean, there's like a trade school component where you can learn some of the fundamentals when you get hired or before you're getting hired, which might take you a couple of weeks, a month to get really ramped up. But then there's ongoing training you can go through in our app, for several years of really understanding and learning all the nitty gritties of, you can always get better, right? There's always more you can learn, more appliances to repair, more HVAC issues to handle, more plumbing problems that you can resolve. And I think to your point, I would say, obviously property managers, this is super useful, but I think the big benefit here is for owners, right? So owners, if you actually own a couple units or, a couple buildings, this is a huge cost-cutting opportunity. I know we're in a time for multifamily where costs are of the essence. This is a huge cost-cutting opportunity, because one of the biggest line items you see in any budget for any multifamily property is contractor expenses, vendors, external vendors, whether it's HVAC, appliance repair, plumbing, electrical. These folks are really expensive. And there's $1,000, $5,000 just to get out there and spend a couple hours looking into something. And if you can train your technicians in-house to do a lot of that basic work and even some of the more advanced work, you save a lot of money. Right. So a lot of the companies, we've been working with have multi-million-dollar vendor cost budgets every year. And this has helped save them 10, 20, 30% of their annual cost. So it's a huge cost cutting opportunity for owners as well.
Yeah, you talked about that EPA certification being kind of the big one. How long would it take to go through and so you had no experience, right? So just coming through, how long would it take to go through and get that EPA
So
certification?
that's a lot of regulation. So I would say that probably takes like 3 to 4 days generally. Yeah.
Okay. So
So
someone could come in and really go through the process and get regulated and be ready to go within a few days.
yeah, for EPA for sure. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
there's a lot of other training. So EPA gets you kind of to understand like key regulations, and it's focused on a lot of that. And then a lot of other training is actually kind of hands-on. So how do you like figure out how to do different job tasks and learn how to do different things so you can actually do them without someone supervising or helping you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So let's talk more about kind of, the impact this has been able to have. You talked about being able to, put people to work in the job market and also for investors and property owners to be able to cut down on their costs. Are you kind of all over the country? Are you located in a certain region? Obviously, it's a virtual
Mhm.
virtual app, but where are you seeing the most traction so far and most utilization?
No, all over the country. So we've yeah, I mean on the technician side, we our team gets really inspired by the reviews we get every day. So we have like 1,200 reviews, 4.95 stars, 4.95 on the Play Store, and I think 4.85 on the App Store. So people love us, and for technicians, we're changing a lot of lives, right? It's folks who just, we get a lot of folks who are Uber drivers or people who've worked as like handyman, odd jobs. A lot of people who've been laid off and not been able to feed their families, and then are able to get really great opportunities and jobs through the SkillCat app. And that's all over the country. On the company side, we work with quite a few HVAC, plumbing, electrical contractors directly, and then a lot of multifamily groups. Yeah, again, all over the country. I think some of the areas that are the most interesting are places that are, typically hot, really hot summers, cold winters, right? HVAC is probably the one of the most challenging parts of a maintenance tech's job. So we definitely see a lot of interest from, places like that. Like the Carolinas, you see a lot of growth. Texas, you see a lot of growth. Florida, these are just areas where it's hot and they have a lot of people moving there, and so there's a huge shortage of people. And so that's where you see a lot of need for how do you skill up people? How do you make them independent faster?
Yeah. So what does that process look like as kind of a user, right? So let's just say someone's listening to this and they say,
Mhm.
love it, or I'm interested at least in learning more. I just go to
Mhm.
the app store, download it, and then bam, I'm learning how to, change out full AC condensers, or what does that actually look like on, that user
Yeah, I
experience?
mean, not too different from that. I would say if you're a multifamily, if you're a company, right, if you're like looking to train your technicians, you can come to our website, you can set up a demo, or you can go through and download the app on your own, and we can walk you through. You basically can help build out career paths in our app for your technicians, things you want them to go through and learn, and then you assign them training. And for them, it's as simple as going to the app. There's a step-by-step breakdown of every course you need to get to a certain goal. So like technician level 1, level 2, level 3. You just go through. It's very gamified. We've kind of modeled a lot after Duolingo. So there are streaks and there are simulations. You can even take pictures and videos of things you do in the field on the job and upload them. And so our team will certify you in skills that you learn on the job if you've done things correctly or incorrectly. And so it's very easy for an owner to set up a technician on there. And then for technicians, it's also very easy. Or if someone wants to go in and work on one of their own units, you can pick those things up pretty quickly.
Yeah. So to your point, there are lots of applications, right? If you want to be a technician or you want to be a user, could be getting set up through your company or something like that. But even if you're just, kind of your own kind of a handyman, and this is
Mhm.
something you want to learn, you could still use this platform to learn a little bit more about these specifics, which I think is interesting because there's, at least I know in some of our properties in our markets, there are a number of maintenance techs who they can do a little plumbing, they can do a little bit of electrical, they can do some regular handyman type stuff, but when it comes to HVAC, when it comes to other, other things, we have to go out and bring in kind of a third party contracted resource. So I think this is one of the things that could be very valuable and helpful for some of those people to learn these different skills. And that's something that they can add to their skill set. And now we don't have to rely on those third parties. So there definitely could be some value there. But even if you're, kind of a do-it-yourselfer, there may be some value in learning these things and going through the processes and learning from not just somebody on YouTube, but, learning from, folks who have kind of tested this and given feedback and allow you to make sure you're doing it the right way. Can you talk about that part, outside of the accreditation part? There's YouTube University, then there's learning through kind of the tutorials. What are some pros and cons from taking that approach?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think YouTube does have a lot of great resources. And so I think in some of our courses, we try to link to the best YouTube resources out there that we validated from our team as well. I mean, there's some great stuff out there. I think for this, if you're trying to validate your tech skills, there's a lot of software built around this, right? To incentivize people to keep going through training and like getting badges and gamifying that experience of continuously growing and learning. And then we have this whole part of the app that's really guidance. So it's less tutorials, less learning, but like real time, you pull this up. It's like, hey, like, is this what's going on with the toilet? Is the seal on correctly? Yes, no. And then it walks you through step by step how you actually solve the issue. And so it's more of a real time kind of a co-pilot taking like a manager or a more experienced person and putting them in your pocket to guide you through real time.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier the ability to kind of upload photos. So like, is someone providing real feedback? So for instance, if I'm not me, but let's just use me. If I'm trying to fix a furnace, I'm uploading and taking pictures of what I'm seeing. I'm uploading that. It's someone then kind of looking at that and saying, hey, you need to look at this or look at that as well.
Yes. Yeah. And so that's typically your manager if it's a company and you have a more experienced, a larger company. And then our team also does that for the sort of smaller folks as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're going to miss, right? From a YouTube standpoint, is you don't get that two-way interaction, right? You can watch a video, hope you did it right, but
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, whoever's doing a video isn't dealing with the same exact model that you have or the same year or the same whatever. So there's going to be something different. And to have someone who can look at it almost, live and give you that feedback, I think is very valuable, whether it be, someone who is, supervisor or even just experts that you have on your team to look at and say, hey, for this kind of, solution or problem, you really need to do it this way. So that's very helpful. If folks want to learn more about this, they can go to the website. They can go to SkillCat.com. Obviously, the app is available as well, but go to SkillCat.com to learn a little bit more. Talk to me a little bit more about some of the other endeavors, right? I mentioned that you were a 4-time entrepreneur in your bio. What are some of the other projects you've been able to get into?
It kind of been all over the place, but really a focus on learning. And I think I've always been passionate about education. And so in college, I built out a nonprofit with educational comic books to make learning interesting for kids. Built out this startup in oil and gas focused on simulation training to help prevent oil spills. And started a company before this one, converting your smartphone front camera into a smart mirror to actually guide you real time in front of different activities like makeup or interview prep that you do in front of a mirror, and giving you real time feedback. And so this is kind of the last SkillCat is what I've been working on for the last few years and kind of using a lot of that knowledge to see how we can solve this massive problem of technicians in the trades. So
yeah. Well, I think it's interesting too that you obviously have a very creative mind to be able to go out there and create these different companies and see a problem, come up with solutions, and SkillCat is kind of the latest iteration of that. How long have you been working on this platform?
About 3 years. So we've done a lot over the last couple of years, and it's been quite a ride.
Yeah, and how long did it take you to get those kind of 100,000 users?
3 years, I guess. I think so that's kind of over the last few years, but it's been very exponential, right? So as we've gotten more popular, like growth has increased quite a bit. A lot of people talk about us and on Reddit and other areas. So yeah.
Nice. I love to see it. Well, listen, we wish you continued growth. Right now, we're going to make that transition into our round of insights. Are you ready?
Yeah, sounds good.
Give me a failure or an apparent failure that set you up for later success.
That's a great question. This is just in general or about SkillCat specifically?
In general, yeah, in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah. So I I mean, I can point to that last company I started, that AI enabled mirror really failed, and we really struggled to get product market fit. It was a huge challenge. It just never really took off, and we spent 2 years, a lot of money on it, and it didn't take off. And I think from that, have learned a lot of insights about how to build a really great product where you listen to your users and iterate and move much faster at changing features from based on what users think. So yeah, previous failed startup has really helped me with this one.
Give me a digital or mobile resource you recommend for your business.
Uh, there's a UI course that I think is exceptional. It's this guy, I think Eric Kennedy is his name, uicourse.com, I think is the website. No, it's not that. Sorry, I think you can edit all this out a little before it. Learnui.design. The guy's name is Eric Kennedy. It's the best UI course I've ever seen, and so I have our team go through it regularly, and it really has helped make us much better designers for anything.
Give me the book you've recommended or gifted the most in the last year.
My favorite book is this book called Shogun by James Clavell. It's about this British pilot in the year 1200 who gets stranded in Japan. And I think it's just really epic and inspiring. And it's about his journey to fit into a different culture and grow. And so it helps really promote a growth mindset. And so I've given that out to a couple of people.
What's a daily habit that helps you stay focused on your goals?
So I think one thing I try to do, I try to wake up really early. So I think for me that works really well. I like being up, 5 a.m. or earlier before anyone else, where I can actually get some time to think, write out goals for the day and stay on track for those goals. Because when people start waking up, you're going to be constantly bombarded with a lot of things. I'm managing like 30, 40 people. So you have a lot that comes up. So I think having that time where, you're able to focus early in the morning works really well for me.
All right, give me your number one insight for learning a new skill or trade.
I think just diving in, right? I think it's you're never too old to learn something completely new from scratch, right? And obviously listening to other people and finding experts in the space is really helpful. But for me, just even learning on your own, like going 5-10 pages deep in Google, like really delving into the nitty-gritty and then doing it yourself works really well.
All right, let's lighten the mood. You are out there in San Francisco. Give me your favorite place to grab a bite to eat.
There's this restaurant called Shizen. It's a vegan sushi place. I very much recommend. People are kind of, people are suspect when they hear about vegan sushi, but it's really amazing. It's either Michelin star or super close to Michelin star, and really worth checking out.
All right, sounds like a good option there. Well, listen, you gave us a lot of great information, talking about your background, starting 4 different companies, but also focusing on SkillCat, and understanding that we do have a labor shortage, but specifically in the skilled trades. And SkillCat is working to help train up folks where they can step in, learn some of these skills, and be able to help multifamily investors in particular. If you are interested in learning more, go to skillcat.com and you can learn more about this platform and how it can help you with your investing goals and your property management needs. Again, Ruchir, I want to thank you for coming on Multifamily Insights, being a great guest, and we look forward to staying in touch with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had a great time.